Okay, now to module 3. This is the Saskatchewan curriculum. So I researched 3 provinces: Alberta, British Columbia, and PEI. But the one thing that Alberta caught my attention was this quote, which I strongly disagree with. So it says, use the vocabulary and techniques of art criticism to analyze and evaluate their own work in relation to professional artists. Why I disagree with this statement is because there is a fine line between critiquing your own work, but comparing yourself to a professional artist could damage risk-taking and self-efficiency as a student. With the Saskatchewan curriculum, it is beautiful, but I noticed that it's missing is the community partnerships regarding the Indigenous arts and culture. So the curriculum needs to support teachers in proper teaching behind the art to prevent cultural appropriation and tokenism. If a teacher is not positioned in a culturally responsive pedagogy, tokenism can occur, or Indigenous artists could not be skipped over entirely. This is a fun little page. I love emojis, so I had fun creating this one. So I spent some time thinking about how children's artistic development gives information about each other. And so by allowing creative expression, my students have autonomy in what they want to create. And by creating lessons that are personally engaging and relevant, this would engage them. I would give the students more discussion time and allow them to explore and develop their ideas, and through a positive sense of self, students will also learn to understand what is expressed by others and how art can build community, which is the biggest point in this page, is building community. We got our buddy Rocco. I used to love this TV show as a kid growing up, so I had to draw him because this question involves what was my childhood like. So my childhood was interesting. We had so much fun. My parents, like my mom especially, let us play with the household items. We would make magic mud, paint, build Tinker toys, and in the springtime we built mud houses and got so dirty, but we spent hours outside doing that. And we even crafted our own rafts. So in the springtime, when the sloughs were filled with water, we made rafts and we floated on them. We were just always building and making things. My mom also loved Halloween, so she had many trunks of costumes and 70s retro clothing. And my friends and I would all get together and just play dress up all day. And my favorite part my memory was painting my mom's wedding dress. I felt so scared, but she was like, go ahead. And so I painted in her wedding dress. This definitely led me to know freedom of expression, and art has always been a piece of me. And so later on, my punk rock baptism occurred. So at the age of 9, that is when I fell in love with music, and especially punk rock and rock and roll. And I associated that with art because music is art. Okay, this is another aspect I wish I spent a little more time on. This is my mind map. So, art was born in 1995. I think everybody who is born, it is just a privilege, and that is art itself. Yeah, we could go so much deeper into that, but we're not. Crazy Quilt. This was a TV show that I enjoyed as a kid. My love of fashion started in 2001. And Art Attack, me and my brother would watch it all the time after school or on the weekends. I had a Light Brights, and I had these bad boys, me and my brother both. Even though the ink and the markers sucked, we still used it. And this is the Man Art Gallery in PA that I attended as a kid. I haven't been there since, so that needs to definitely change. Lisa Frank was a big part of my childhood. Got my lava lamps, and I had all the big shiny tunes. Love that genre of music and all those CDs. And then we move on to elementary, and so all of us felt like a boss using word art for our papers. And then we move on to high school. I did take art class in high school, and so as you can see here, this looks like a tit. Okay, so my family calls it the titty pot. It is originally a cupcake, but now we've changed the name to the Titty Pot, and it is a family heirloom. So I had to take a picture of that and show you. And then we have a really sad empty space right here. This is after high school. I didn't do any art. I didn't, yeah, and this kind of makes me sad because I didn't, yeah, I don't know. It's just so empty. And so after this, now I'm taking the best art education class I've ever taken before. I just want to shout out to Monique for opening my eyes to how important art really is in a person's life. Module 4 we got here going on, STEAM learning. So STEAM is science, technology, art, and math combined. And the focus of the arts for STEAM, it's important to teach kids the value of creativity and innovation and communication, right? So this quote, I'm just going to let you read it here, totally explains STEAM. And then there was a film I watched, and this is the question, but my answer is, well, I've never been in the classroom yet, although I can speak from my rec therapy experiences for my past clients. So they had severe disabilities and behavior problems. I had this one boy that loved cars and vehicles, but he was never going to drive because of his barriers and cognitive ability. So I took him to the Wine Group Raceway, that's a mouthful, in Saskatoon, and he got to drive a real race car. He even got suited up, everything, and the race car driver took him around, and he did like 10 laps together, and he was just so happy, and his parents even got to watch all the excitement, and they thanked me and was so grateful that I got to give him that opportunity to drive a car despite his barriers. Some more of my blind portraits. As you can see, my nose is really good, but like this one, oh boy, I don't know. But yeah. And so I created an atypical book. So at work, I was thinking, what the heck do I make? So I decided to make a book of receipts with a dirty napkin and just some Boston Pizza receipts. Yeah. That's that one. Module 5, this is with primary colors, and this was my favorite cover to do. I had a lot of fun because this is who I am. It just speaks Brooklyn, so yeah, I'm really proud of this. And then my technique I used is just sketching and some shading. So I quickly did a little flower. And here I did a little quick sketch of a face and a dice. As you can see, I can, I'm getting a little better, but still needs work. And there's some jobs that really utilize the techniques and skills of drawing. And so that's carpentry, engineering, art teacher, of course, landscape, architect, drafter, and technical. And these technical drawings are used as a common language for those who work in these fields. And this is my answer to the transdisciplinary approach. This is another page I'm not too impressed with, but these are just really quick doodles. I did not know how crazy this time this took me. I'm really proud of it, although yeah, I could use a little bit more time. So Mark Dion, how could we get him in the classroom? So I would get my students to understand his mindset, to go against the grain of dominant culture, to challenge perception and convention. Mark uses scientific methods of exhibiting objects, and his ideas spark science cross with arts education. And to honor his work and ideologies, I would use the outdoors as a classroom. Okay, this was a big question. There's some of them I was like, what the heck? I love them. It just got me thinking, like, so unreal. But I only answered a couple because I was like, holy smokes, that's deep. How has color played a role in my life? Well, growing up, I had my walls painted purple and green, and I also had my hair red and purple. And then my room was always vibrant. Like, I was just always creating. My space was always filled with posters, and yeah, it was very fun. And then I had this crazy jacket. It was I think it was in grade 4, and it was like embroidered and had like fur on the sleeves and the collar. And every one of my classmates were like, they made fun of it because it was so outrageous. But I loved it, and it was like my favorite jacket. But I got too self-conscious to wear it because no one liked it. So that's unfortunate. So wear what you want. And then another artist, well, there's lots of artists who use primary color, but P.A. Mondrian used primary colors in his artwork for Broadway Boogie Boogie. And of course, Pablo Picasso uses it in his Claudette and Palomar playing. And I really like that one because the face is all sliced with green and blue globs. I just thought that was pretty trippy. Last module 6, and this is me and my crazy brain and my thoughts going a million miles an hour. Okay, so we got some pictures of students in an art studio museum, and they're so engaged. What role has public art galleries played in my life? Well, art galleries have been in my life since elementary school. We would go once or twice a year. And as a rec programmer, I would use the Vermeer Art Gallery for my clients. But one thing I've noticed, it is very, very difficult to do art with severe disabilities and behaviors. And so trying to create that with them, it was the most difficult program to do. Because they have a 2-second brain span, and it was difficult. But I loved the Vermeer. Just the space was so calming, and it was beautiful for them to like look at it. But like doing art itself, it was very difficult. So when I have kids with disabilities, I've learned how to like do hand over hand and do some activities with them. That was a big eye opener for me. But as a teacher, I think either making my classroom or doing a gym, hosted gym art tour for the school. And this could help me with assessment of me going around looking at the kids' artworks. And to get the school involved as well with some art. My knowledge has definitely changed. I learned way, way too much, which is amazing. And I think it changed me as a person. It opened up my creative side more, and to like really appreciate what I'm doing with my career. So have the students lead their own learning, take chances, and it's okay if a lesson does not go as planned. Art is exceptionally cross-curricular, and I can incorporate it in every subject. Art shakes us up from our complacency, and it has students move, groove, and perform. And this article I read on stories in art and education, it's really affected me because this poor kid, he was always trying to please the teacher and was afraid because he couldn't. And he hated art class because he was afraid his work would never be as good as his friends. And then he states, at least in math class, there were rules to follow to get the right answer. I never want my kids to feel this way. I want them to be proud of any work they do. So this made me think like this will not happen in my classroom. And this is the last one. Consider, what does art education mean to you now, and how has it changed? Well, art is just as important as math in the curriculum, and it is everywhere. I feel excited about teaching art education because it opens up your soul and helps with students' metacognition. I'm going to continue educating myself on the arts and attend more art museums. I am creative, and I'm going to hone my creative side way more than before. Art is not submissive, and that is why I feel so connected to it. That's all, folks.